Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hello Dave with Downtoearth Astronomy. We're going to start this week in Elite Dangerous, where Frontier has finally come with a final verdict on the whole caustic sink engineering. Just a quick recap in case you're not familiar with what's going on here. After update 15 was launched, the caustic sink was reclassified as a variant of a heat sink to an experimental weapon, which may seem like a minor thing, it just goes another place in the outfitting menu. But it also meant that it lost access to all the engineering modifications. That means that you could no longer engineer them. However, all the people who already engineered them previously could still keep their previously engineered modules. I talked about this last week. We weren't really sure whether this was whether Frontier's going to roll it back, whether they were planning to remove engineering or not, back and forth. We finally got a solution or a end to that little story, and they are now once again engineerable. So it seems it was just an oversight by Frontier that when they reclassified them, that their engineering was then also removed from them in that process. I'm glad to see that solution. This is, in my mind, the absolute best outcome. I was a bit worried, I must admit, that Frontier was going to just remove all engineering on them. I don't know if I was afraid they were going to feel they were overpowered when they got extra ammo engineering on them, but I think they're pretty well balanced. Clearly, Frontier thinks the same, so this is, I think, win-win for everybody. So yeah, awesome. Go out, engineer your caustic sinks again. In Star Citizen, as business as usual, CID told us nothing and did a surprise launch of update 319 last, I believe it was Tuesday, if I recall correctly. I think it was. They launched it in, and it's actually been a relatively good patch. There has been a few hiccups. I've seen some 30K servers are not the most stable we have seen, but a lot of the really bad issues we saw with update 318 seems to have been resolved. It's far from perfect. There was one major hiccup. I think it was Thursday evening, if I recall, or Friday evening. I was sitting, we were playing with some of the guys who were on Discord, and we were flying around, doing new things in Star Citizen. All of a sudden, we just all got kicked off. Got 30K, and it was nothing new. Servers has 30K people in 319. So we decided to log back in, and none of us could, and we were presented with the character creation screen when we tried to log in. And it turned out that the whole thing just collapsed. Took CIG 10, 12 hours, something like that, to resolve the issue, and the servers were back up, and everybody was back in and playing again. And with 319, we of course also now have Invictus Launch Week, where we got 2 new ships, small little snub fighters, no quantum drive, but fast, super maneuverable, huge amount of firepower for their size, and they are a tiny target and almost impossible to hit. As many of you have also commented on my video where I did specifically on those 2 new fighters, is that they are one-shot kinetic damage and you're gone. They can't take damage. But again, that's they're not supposed to, right? They are small fighters where half of it is built of glass. It's basically just engines, a glass cockpit, and then as many guns that they could probably cram onto that thing as possible. So I never expected it to be a very good tanker. As I also mentioned in my video, these 2 Furies, the Fury and the Fury MX, they are really supposed to be surviving by speed, maneuverability, and numbers. Because they are so small, you can fit a lot of them on ships with a hangar or a cargo bay. Now, for the headline news this week, Squadron 42 has been removed from the store completely. At the time of this recording, all the game packs that used to have Squadron 42 included in them, they now do not have Squadron 42 included in them. And even the standalone pack where you could buy access to Squadron 42 is gone as well. Everything. You can't, at the time of this recording, you can't go and buy a pack that includes Squadron 42. Which is kind of weird. But then again, if you look at the issue tracker, if you look at the progress tracker, you will see that pretty much every single team inside Star Citizen, inside CIG, working on Squadron 42. They have a progress tracker. We can see what they're doing divided up per each team. All of them, every single one of them, has massive major deliveries in either June or July. Most of them in June, and there's 1 or 2 teams that has a few deliveries that are going to stretch into July. But the majority of them is going to be in June, a few in July. And it kind of begins to make people like discuss, and rumors are running wild. Personally, I don't think we're gonna see Squadron 42 with a surprise launch, but I'm pretty sure there's a reason why they removed it from the store, and then we have all these deliverables right around the corner. Maybe, fingers crossed, we are close to like a playtest of it. I don't know. I don't think I mean, it wouldn't be unlike CIG just to go like, yeah, we're done, here we go, take it. That would be a bit of a surprise, given that there's still a few tech things that are missing. But I guess a lot of the tech that's really missing for Star Citizen is like server meshing and those kind of things, and persistent entity streaming, and they're still trying to like iron out the last little crinkles in it. And since Squadron 42 is supposed to be like a single player experience, I guess they don't really need all the like persistent entity streaming and server meshing stuff, as it is a single player game. So I don't know. Maybe they're further along than I think. I hope so, but some things are happening there. It's all rumors and speculations right now, so you make up your own mind what you think is going on, and when you have, maybe post them in the comment section, and I would love to see you guys discuss it down there, as I think it is quite interesting, and we can theory craft, we can guess and come up with like rumors and ideas and guesses for days, but at the end of the day, all we can really do is just wait, see what happens. Live stream tomorrow. With the Invictus launch week still going on in Star Citizen, I'm gonna jump back in there. We're gonna look at whatever ships is on display today. Hold on, let me just check. So tomorrow should be Anvil Aerospace, who is up on display in there. So not really sure if we're gonna see new ships there. That's unlikely. So maybe it's going to turn into a racing stream like a lot of my Star Citizen streams. I always end up at a racetrack somewhere. Last time I finished both the Lowell one and the Icebreaker. And I think I'm actually at the, it was quite nice, I'm at the Area 18 one now. So that means since the Expo is also going on at Area 18, we have everything confined there. If we can get out of the spaceport. Okay, I'm getting sidetracked now, but this has been a short video, so that's okay. I was streaming on Friday, and I was trying to get out of Area 18. I rented some ships from the Expo, and I wanted to get out. And I got this message that all the landing pads, all the hangars were just full. Because there were so many people there were so many people in the server, all at the same landing zone, trying to get ships out of Area 18 so they could go out and play with the ships they rented at the Expo. And on the other hand, there were a lot of players who already made it out, who were trying to get in. And they were all just fighting for these hangars, and there was just people trying to desperately get in or desperately get out, and it was just a big mess. I ended up finding a guy who just landed his ship, or ran into his hangar, and convinced the guy to borrow me his ship. So I borrowed his ship, and if I talked to him in chat, like 3 other guys ran into the hangar, and we were like 4 people crammed into this like tiny little Aurora. And one of the side doors couldn't close because there were people too jam-packed in there, so the door wouldn't close. So we were just flying in quantum with one side door open and just people just hanging on for dear life. We lost one guy in the process. But we made it. We made it over to Hurston. Got like two of the passengers and me. So 3 out of 4 people survived the trip there. So that's great. And then when we were there, it was a lot easier to get a landing pad on the hangars. There was less activity around Hurston than there was around Area 18. So we're going to jump into the Expo. I hope we're not going to have the same issues. I think it was mainly because it was the first day of the Expo, and we had those two new fighters were on display that day, so there was a lot of activity. As I said, I'm not expecting to see a lot of new ships with Anvil being on display, so activity should be lower, and hopefully we're going to have an easier time actually getting a landing pad. As I said, live stream tomorrow will be Star Citizen, checking out the Expo, maybe go racing towards the end. And as always, it's going to be live streamed on YouTube, it's going to be on Twitch, and it's going to be at 7 o'clock GMT. I hope we'll see a lot of you guys there. Thanks a lot for watching, and also next time, I'll see you guys in space.